And boom. Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as it is June 30th, 2024, and tonight was AEW Cross NJPW Forbidden Door. Now, before we even get going, I want to let you guys know that I think I have an ear infection, so if I'm off tonight, or if you see me like wincing, I'm in pain right now. But we got a big show to talk about. I did like the show. I will say that right off the jump. Right off the rip, I did like Forbidden Door tonight. I thought it was a good show overall, but the issue I had, and I don't know if this is an AEW issue, I don't know if this is because of the Forbidden Door concept. A lot of the matches, a majority, maybe about half of the matches, if not more, I didn't care about. Like, I wasn't invested. I was just like, man, this is good wrestling. Man, this is a really good match. Oh, I like this match. Great spot. This and that and that. But as far as like being invested in the matches and caring, it was just, I'm watching matches for match's sake. Now, I will also say I only watched one match on the pre-show, and that was the Mariah May Saraya match, because that match was important. It was a tournament match in the Owen, so I did, after the show, go back and watch that 8.5-minute match. So that's the only thing I have seen on the pre-show. But other than that, it's like, why should I have cared about Hechicero and MJF? Why should I have cared about Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy? Why should I have cared about, the Elite versus Scissor Ace? Now, I get it. They're trying to build the Elite versus the Acclaimed because they're going to get a title shot and this and that. But it's like, and then the Acclaimed lost. So what? Like, why should I care about some of these matches? Like, I didn't see it on the pre-show, but why should I care about the Lucha Bros and Mystico against Los Ingobernables? Why? You know what I mean? It's just like, what are we doing here? We're doing a show where most of the matches don't matter. If that makes sense. So, yeah. But regardless with all of that, also, let me know, is my camera kind of off a little bit, like not level? For some reason, the shelf in the background to me doesn't look straight, and it's straight. But I don't know if it's just that my monitor maybe not level, or is it the camera? Actually, we could test that really fast. I have a level right here. Let me do something really fast. We're going to test some stuff out on the fly. See right now if it's level. Level. Okay. Says it's level. It's off. No, it's level. Interesting. Maybe it's my monitor. Maybe my monitor's off a little bit or something, making me look unlevel. But regardless, Forbidden Door, I thought overall was a good show. Also, the other thing about this show that I really appreciated is the quickness that they just boom, 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 boom. One match ended, the next match started. Some matches, yes, we did get video packages, but they didn't waste no time between matches. And that is the good thing, because the last couple of WWE shows, it's like the match will end, and then it's video, ad, video, ad, and then we get the match. So it's like, here's the one good thing here. I did feel like the show was very well paced. I will say that for sure. The show did feel very well paced. But with that, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can help us out by hitting that donate button down below, or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month, and I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember to help us out over on YouTube. You can do that by subscribing to the channel. That way you know when we post new videos. That way you know when we go live and when we post things to the community tab. Also, if you want to help out the channel, you can become a channel member. Even if you do so at just the $1 tier, that is greatly, greatly appreciated. Whether you do it as a channel member on YouTube or at patreon.com/PW Unlimited. And also, remember, if you want to get your comment, question, or concern read live on the air, you could do so by donating a super chat in the live chat. And finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're claiming the free games are getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or Fall Guys, use our code PW Unlimited at checkout and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Even if you're getting the free game right now, Sunless Skies Souvenir Edition, put in the code PWUNLIMITED for all Epic Games and Epic Game Store services to help us out. Also in Fortnite, they got some new Marvel stuff. You can get Rogue, you can get Gambit. So when you're buying them in Fortnite, again, use our code PW Unlimited, PWUNLIMITED. Whew. Oh, I'm in so much pain right now, but we're gonna fight through this, and we're gonna talk about AEW Forbidden Door. So, like I said, the only match that I did see on the pre-show was the tournament match, Mariah May and Saraya. So, again, I went back and watched that after everything else on the show. But let me get to my notes here for this match as far as Mariah May defeating Saraya. So, fast start from May early on, who hit her spinning side suplex and a shotgun dropkick for an early near fall. May connected on a handspring head scissors and a top rope missile dropkick as she wanted sweet cheek music, but Saraya slid to safety on the apron. Both ladies then duked it out, and Saraya pulled May into the ring post. Saraya then called Storm a cow, and Nigel McGuinness reminded us on commentary that there's nothing, these two don't really get along, I guess you would say. They used to be friends, but they're not friends, so yeah. Saraya then poured on some offense back inside the ring as Hikaru Shida was shown watching. Remember, Shida is going to fight the winner of this match. May then did fire off a headbutt and dropped Saraya, but both ladies actually kind of went down with a double down here. Crowd was supporting Mariah May here. Saraya then crumbled from a couple of shots, and then May did hit the sweet cheek music. Saraya then wiggled out of a Mayday attempt as Harley Cameron jumped on the apron, but Storm pulled her to the floor. May became distracted long enough for Saraya to hit a nightcap, but May got a rope break. Saraya then took too long to follow up with her trash talking to Toni Storm as May countered a nightcap into a roll-up for the Flash victory just out of nowhere. Just all of a sudden, rolls her up, wiggle, 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 win. Mariah May. Mariah May will now face Shida in the next round of the tournament. So afterwards, Toni Storm and Mariah May are celebrating at the top of the ramp. When out would come Mina Shirakawa. She would raise so Toni had one hand raised of Mariah, and then Mina came out, raised the other hand, and there we go. So as we move forward to the main card, it did kick off with MJF versus Hechicero, and like I said, I didn't care about this match at all. One bit. No iota. Like, this match meant nothing to me. This was a nothing match. Not a bad match, but it was a nothing match because why? Why did we get this match? So, Hechicero quickly went for a rolling armbar early, but MJF escaped and offered a handshake to the chance of sportsmanship. Hechicero then foolishly fell for it, and MJF booted him right in the gut and then did a Fargo strut. Hechicero then blocked another boot, but MJF backflipped out into an eye poke. Hechicero pulled referee Bryce Remsburg in front of him and sent MJF to the floor, but MJF was there to send Hechicero into the guardrail multiple times. MJF then hit a charging boot and back inside, wasted no time, but Hechicero wrenching on Hechicero's arm. MJF then wanted to go for a heat seeker, but Hechicero swept the leg into a spinning slingshot, splash for a 2. The arm is what Hechicero kept going for. There was a spinning hammerlock slam at one point as well that got a near fall. There was a violent knee strike in the corner that allowed a Fargo strut from Hechicero, who then ended it with flipping off the crowd. At one point, a one-armed MJF made a comeback. He managed a snap pile driver, sold the arm. This allowed Hechicero to hit a springboard drop kick and a rolling armbar. MJF countered into assault to the earth, but Hechicero scrambled into a double arm tap submission, but MJF got to the ropes. Both men then had the same idea as they collided with the double clothesline in the middle of the ring. There were some 10 corner punches from MJF, who bit at the head of Hechicero. He hit a Long Island Sunrise and a brainbuster to pick up the victory. So MJF does get the win here over Hechicero. But again, good match, but I didn't care. Like, okay, these two worked okay together. I thought it was just there. So, moving forward, we had the Elite, Okada, and the Young Bucks taking on the team of the Acclaimed and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Those was a fun tag match, but again, it's like, why? No, I get it. They're building up the eventual tag team title match between the Acclaimed and the Young Bucks and whatnot, but it's just like, okay, whatever. So Max Caster did an extended rap. They all scissored with Daddy Ace, as they called him, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Also, if I keep looking this way, I do have the press conference scrum deal on over here. So in case like something shocking happens that I can tell from like, it's muted, but if I could tell something happens, yeah. I have it on over there just in case. Zack Sabre, Mercedes Moné came out first. Zack Sabre Jr. just wrapped up, so we'll see who is next on the press conference, the media scrum. But as far as this match does go, Okada and Tanahashi had a stare down early on, and of course Okada tagged out to Nick Jackson. Out next, Tony Storm. There was a cross body into an air guitar from Tanahashi. He then tagged in Bowens, who had a quick roll up and a snap arm drag. Tanahashi then backed off to Okada on the floor, allowing a Scissor Me Timbers to connect on both Bucks after the Acclaimed then did some air guitar. It was a blind tag by Okada, who attacked Caster as the Elite hit a triple attack in the corner and an air raid crash on the knee of Okada. At one point, Matthew got a huge head of steam before kissing his brother on the cheek and then doing some air guitars as well. There was a slight CM Punk chant when the Bucks were in the ring, but it was drowned out by a "he got fired" chant right after. So I'm like, oh, okay, they shut that down. After being isolated, Caster finally broke free and tagged in Bowens, who ran wild. There's a fame master to Nicholas as Bowens popped Okada with a right hand. Matthew then tried to mock a Stinger Splash, but failed miserably, and ate a thrust kick from Bowens, who hit a spinning fireman's carry slam for a 2. There's a series of reversals by both the Acclaimed and the Bucks, resulting in a quadruple down, leaving only Okada and Tanahashi standing in the ring. Tanahashi then hit a somersault senton out of the corner, followed up by a dragon screw into a Texas cloverleaf. Nicholas broke it up with a high kick, but Caster flew in with a sling blade to stop Nicholas. At one point, the Acclaimed made the save off of the Acclaimed jumped in to make a save as Tanahashi went for the high fly flow, but Okada got his knees up. The Bucks then pumped up their shoes, took out Bowens and Caster before delivering a super kick party onto Tanahashi. Dives to the Acclaim on the outside, left Okada to hit a body slam, top rope elbow, Rainmaker pose, fake it out and do a flipping off the crowd. Tanahashi countered a Rainmaker into a small package for a 2. This then allowed for a dragon screw to both Bucks, but he ran into an Okada dropkick. Rainmaker connected, and Okada pinned Tanahashi to pick up the victory. Afterwards, Okada wanted another Rainmaker, but Billy Gunn sprinted down and made the save. So Tony's in the press conference right now. Mina just came out, and Mariah's there as well, and I don't know what they're doing. They're singing together now. They're doing some sort of dance. I guess it's like the Club Venus thing. They're all doing it together. And like Tony's trying to do it, but she doesn't know the dance. It's kind of funny. And also, Tony gave Mina one of the Statue of Liberty crowns that she was wearing. So after all that, they're all friends. Triple kiss and they're all friends. We'll get to that in a little bit. So we had a quarterfinal match in the men's Owen Hart Foundation tournament. It was Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi. So on the post show, the AEW one with Renee Paquette, RJ City, and Daddy Magic, RJ City said Bryan Danielson may be the dumbest, most intelligent person he's ever met. Doing the just stuff he does in his matches is not smart. He's gonna really hurt himself one of these days. He hasn't already. Excuse me. So this match, hard hitting, two guys that just went out there to kill each other, and oh boy. So after a very eventful opening sequence, Danielson applied a Romero special, but Takagi escaped. Both men traded shoulder blocks, as it was Takagi who stood tall and followed this up with a standing senton. Nigel McGuinness on commentary really laid into Danielson for not even holding an AEW title in 3 years. Danielson backflipped out of the corner and popped Takagi with a lariat before sending him to the floor. Danielson then tried to dive, but Takagi caught him in the ropes and hit a swinging neckbreaker, spiking Danielson right on his head. This was bad, very bad. Doctors had to check on Danielson as referee Aubrey Edwards seemingly didn't care and just started the 10 count. Excuse me. Danielson did beat the 10 count, but rolled into a suplex for a 2. Takagi then kept Danielson grounded and taunted the crowd, but the brief hesitation allowed Danielson to hit a high kick into a double down spot. There's some hard chops and an uppercut exchange as Danielson landed on his feet out of a suplex and hit a low snap German, sending Takagi into the corner. Danielson was cut off going to the top as Takagi mocked the yes chance, but Danielson slid out and hit a back superplex. Danielson then locked in a triangle sleeper with some elbows as well, but Takagi powered out into a power slam. There's a pumping bomber in the corner that led to a massive superplex from Takagi, who followed this with a sliding lariat for a 2. Danielson avoided a Made in Japan, but was turned inside out with a violent pumping bomber. Takagi then followed this up with a Made in Japan, but Danielson just managed to barely kick out. Takagi signaled, I can't speak, for the end, looking for the last of the dragon, but the American Dragon just collapsed. So Takagi fired off a charging forearm. Anvil elbows connected, and then Danielson countered a sliding lariat into a label lock, but Takagi rolled out of the ring. Both men then collided with headbutts as Takagi was up first. He wanted the last of the dragon, and Danielson escaped into a regal plex. The crowd then loudly was behind Danielson here, who went for the and hit the Busaku knee, only for Takagi to kick out of 2, though. Danielson then stomped down on the head before applying a triangle again with more elbows. Takagi then wanted to raise again, but more elbows had him collapse. Danielson violently wrenched back on the arm, and Takagi verbally submitted. So there we go. Bryan Danielson does advance in the Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament. He will face Pac this Wednesday on Dynamite in Chicago. There it is. And gotta take notes. So we move forward with the AEW Women's World Championship on the line. It's Timeless Toni Storm against Mina Shirakawa. I thought these two worked well together. I thought, the match wasn't bad, but it's just like, Tony's not losing. We're just sitting here waiting for when this match is going to end, and there's going to be some sort of a post-match. So it's just like, you're really waiting for the match to end so you can then see where it all goes. The storyline of who does Mariah May choose. So it's like, I wasn't really caring about the match itself. It was more of, okay, I'm waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. What is Mariah going to do? So I guess you could say I was invested some in the story, but it also pulled me away from caring about the match itself and more just caring about, all right, when's Mariah May going to get involved? Or what is she going to do once the match is over, depending on who wins? Also, Swerve is now at the press conference, the scrum. 1 second here. So Mariah May was in the ring before the entrances and presented both the champion and challenger, with flowers. That was an interesting one, but I get it. Trying to say, hey, I support you both. Also, Tony Storm came out dressed as a Statue of Liberty. That was kind of cool. And yeah, America, I wrote it here. America the Beautiful played as well. And Tony had a real torch. Anywho. 1 second. So, the lights went out. She had her standard entrance. As Nigel said, if anyone epitomizes chin up, tits out, it's Lady Liberty. Test question if McGinnis could even say that, because he's not from America. Neither is Tony. And before this gets, let's see, we have a couple bit donations here from Esports Gaming Rules. Let's see. Your first one I'll read later after the Mercedes match because it kind of plays in with that. And his second question is, do you prefer Max or Triller TV for AEW pay-per-views once the new AEW TV streaming deal? Well, we don't know that. We don't know if they're going to put their pay-per-views on Max. So asking me which I like better, I don't know. I've never watched anything live on Max. I've watched stuff on Max, but I've never watched anything live on Max. And we don't even know if they're going to put the pay-per-views on Max. So, yeah. That's a moot point question because that's not something that's been announced, if you know what I mean. Because he says, I'll read his question verbatim. Do you prefer Max or Triller TV for AEW pay-per-views once the new AEW TV streaming deal in the U.S. happens, and how it affects WWE PLE deal in the USA? Well, it's not going to affect the WWE PLE deal at all because they got a deal with goddamn Peacock. So I don't know how, if AEW streams their pay-per-views on Max going forward, I don't know why that would have any impact on WWE at all. I don't understand that part of the question. But what would I prefer, Max or Triller? Max, because I use my buddy's Max, which means that I could just watch the pay-per-views and not have to worry about paying for them. Triller, you got to pay for them, every single one. If they're just on Max, I log into my buddy's Max, and there I go. I'm good to go. So yeah, I would prefer Max that way, because he gives me Max, I give him Peacock. And Paramount Plus, because Paramount Plus is wrapped in with my or our family's Walmart Plus subscription. But yeah, which would I prefer? Max. I already got a Max subscription login. Unless they add it to what they said they were going to do, an extra $15 a month tier, then we don't get that one. Then that's a whole different story. Because they said they were going to add a sports tier to Max, which is an extra, I think they said $15. So we'll see how that all does go. Also, he says, love the new room. Thank you. It's not done yet. I still got to make it look better. But I do like the way the lights in the background and all that are looking in here. I have more space to do more than before. As far as Tony and Mina does go in the match, Storm hit an early hip attack, but Shirakawa battled back, working the crowd and slamming Storm repeatedly to the mat with her knee. Shirakawa then posted the leg and applied a figure 4 on the post. Shirakawa then took too long to capitalize in the ring as Storm hit a backbreaker in the corner with her one good leg before sending Shirakawa to the floor with the hip attack. Storm then tried another hip attack on the outside against the steel steps, but missed, crashing and burning herself. Luther then tended to Storm, but Shirakawa flew off the top, wiping both out. Back inside the ring, Shirakawa went at the leg and hit a spinning electric chair before applying a figure 4. Both women then started slapping each other, and Storm made it to the ropes. There was a forearm battle that ensued, with Shirakawa connecting with a discus forearm before heading to the top, only to be cut off by Storm. Shirakawa managed an avalanche DDT off the top and a lifting DDT to follow, but only got a 2. Storm then fought off the glamorous driver Mina into a slam as Storm connected with the sweet chic music, but Shirakawa kicked out. Shirakawa then spun out of a Storm Zero into a glamorous collection Mina and an elbow strike combo. And it's funny because she just puts Mina at the end of the moves to make them her big moves. And I like how when she was on Hey EW with RJ City, RJ asked her, he's like, you've got a move called the glamorous collection Mina, the glamorous driver Mina. You just add Mina to the end of stuff and you think they're important? And she's like, of course. So I thought that was funny. I was just like, oh yeah, she just got these moves, and then she puts Mina at the end. Anywho, Shirakawa hit another glorious driver, Mina, but Storm managed to kick out. A roundhouse kick collapsed Storm afterwards, as Shirakawa went for another glamorous driver, but Storm escaped and hit multiple headbutts. There's a snap German that connected, as Storm spiked Shirakawa with a spiked Shirakawa and picked up the victory. So there we go. Toni Storm, as everybody in the world probably predicted, retained the championship. Now, post-match, where things went down with the story. Post-match, Mariah May jumps in to check on Storm, and she keeps looking back and down at Mina. You know, she's like, okay, I love you too, but I love Toni. Mina's my sister, but Toni's like a mom, kind of thing. And so Shirakawa got up, and May kind of like brought the two together, and Shirakawa wanted a handshake, and Storm accepted it. May then suggested they all hug, but the other two, Mina and Toni, kind of reluctantly was like, I don't know. And then Mariah got them all to kiss, triple kiss. Nigel stood up at commentary and applauded with, he said, tears in his eyes. And then they all embraced, and there's a photo online of them all backstage. It's Toni. Well, it's actually like this way. Toni, Mariah, Mina, and like Mariah's got her hands behind each of them on their butts, grabbing their butts. So that's kind of funny. This then led to the next match, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy. And I'm like, good match, but I really never got invested. Never fully cared in the match, because why should I? It was just a match for match's sake. After a slight feeling out process. Ooh. Oh, sharp pain. Give me a second. Oh, yeah. That one hurt. Pretty sure I got ear infection. I need to call for a doctor's appointment tomorrow. Whew. After a filling out process, Cassidy took an extended walk around ringside as Sabre held the ropes open. Cassidy opted to roll under them, though. Both men then traded Japanese strangleholds before trading hip toss attempts before Cassidy flew in, picked the ankle, and got a Cazadora roll-up for a 2. Sabre then rolled out, trapped the head with his feet, and twisted as Cassidy went outside again. Back inside the ring, Sabre wrapped up Cassidy like a pretzel, but a rope break put a stop to all that. There's uppercuts and little kicks mocking Cassidy before Sabre punted him in the chest. Sabre then tried a charge, but Cassidy drop-kicked out the leg and followed this up with a violent dragon screw. Sabre then recovered outside the ring, but Cassidy hit a dive and repeated dragon screws before heading back inside. Sabre tried to shake out the knee that was bugging him as Cassidy flew off the top rope with the crossbody, but Sabre caught him midair and got him in a cravat. Cassidy quickly escaped into another dragon screw for a double down here. Cassidy tried a spinning DDT and a stun dog millionaire at one point, but Sabre blocked it, only for Cassidy to fire off with a Michinoku driver for a 2. Again, Cassidy went to the top to try and hit the diving DDT, and he did, this time getting a close near fall off of it. Sabre then dodged an orange punch as he stomped down and snapped at Orange's wrist. Sabre again immobilized the upper body of Cassidy with submissions, but the foot of Cassidy got to the ropes to break the hold. Also, I don't know what Swerve just said. Looked like he was monologuing, but Prince Nana and Toni like clapping big time for him. So yeah. Where was I? Sabre slapped at Cassidy at one point, daring him to fight back, and that's what he did, punching him right in the head and the leg and everything. Like, just Orange fired up, I guess you would say. He then sunk into Texas Cloverleaf. Sabre rolled out, wrenched at the bad wrist, but Cassidy spun into a beach break and got a 2. Cassidy hit a series of counters, or there's a crazy series of counters as Cassidy tried an O'Connor roll. Sabre then went for the Euro clutch, but Cassidy did a Euro clutch of his own, but with his hands in his pockets for a 2. Both then traded uppercuts as Cassidy tried a mousetrap, but Sabre countered into a submission that saw him tie up both legs and wrench both arms at the same time, causing Cassidy to verbally submit. So there we go. Zack Sabre Jr. does defeat Orange Cassidy. And I'm like, That was a good match. Didn't expect Zack Sabre Jr. to win, but we do know if you've been watching New Japan, they've really been trying to elevate Zack Sabre to the point where I think there's a good chance Zack Sabre Jr. could win G1 this year. And so maybe that's why he got this victory here, giving him some momentum going into the G1 Climax tournament this year. Post-match, Sabre presented a dejected Cassidy with sunglasses as what commentary assumed was a sign of respect. So as we move forward, excuse me. So as we move forward, we had a trios match. Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata against Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and Jeff Cobb. So I don't know why this match took place on this show. This match was a Collision main event if I've ever seen one. I wouldn't even call it a Dynamite main event. That's how much I didn't care for this match. Like, this match should have main evented last night's Collision. This match, all I felt like this match was for was to eventually, potentially, maybe build up Joe challenging Cobb for that TV title, that NJPW World TV title. So everyone's in the ring and the crowd's chanting, "Please retire Jericho." So Jericho grabs the mic and goes, "Hey, I know you guys really don't mean that you want me to retire. You're just saying things." And Shibata started things off by slugging it out with Big Bill, who leveled Shibata with a boot and a high vertical suplex. Jericho then tagged in, and Shibata immediately started no-selling some chops so he could fire off some of his own. Hook tagged in as Jericho tried to crossbody, but Hook and Shibata did the Joe sidestep, and Jericho crashed and burned. Joe and Cobb then tagged in and went like a house of fire. That is a house battle if you've ever seen one. So, where was I? Joe lit up Cobb early on with some shots in the corner, but Cobb answered back with a spine buster. Taj mentioned how in his early days of Team Taz, he wanted Cobb to be part of the group, but plans fell through. There was rumors early on in AEW that they wanted to bring Jeff Cobb in more regularly, and it just never happened. So that's probably where this all stems from. It would have been perfect in the old Team Taz. Joe then fought out of the Learning Tree corner and tagged in Hook, who was ultimately the one who found himself isolated, including Brian Keith getting in some cheap shots, who was at ringside. Big Bill connected big time with some elbows and an elbow drop, and Cobb followed this up with a standing moonsault. Hook then fought back with a desperation lariat into a double down as Shibata made the tag and ran wild, and then finally hit a corner boot. Corner offense by Joe as Shibata hit a stalling corner drop kick as Joe flew in with a senton. Bill then wiped out Joe on the outside, but Hook flew off the top with a double axe handle. Keith then took the referee Aubrey Edwards, allowing Jericho to hit a low blow and sink in the walls of Jericho. Joe tried to make the save, but ran into a Big Bill chokeslam. Shibata then delivered an STO, but Cobb was there with the Tour of the Islands. Hook then hit a T-bone on Cobb, leaving Jericho there to hit a code breaker for a 2. Eventually, Jericho waved to the crowd, allowing Hook to sink in a red rum. Shibata choked out Bill, and Joe trapped Cobb on the outside in the coquina clutch. Jericho got out of the submission, but ran right into a Judas effect from Hook and got pinned. As applauded and was a little shocked that Hook won with the Judas effect. So, there we go. Baby faces beat the heels. In an okay match, but again, like I said, this match could have just main evented a Collision. Could have been the Collision main event last night, and it would have made no difference on this show that ended up with 15 matches. Because at the last minute, they added another pre-show match that I didn't see, a 3-minute Kyle Fletcher Serpentico match. Like, what are we doing? Why was that needed? Why was Kyle Fletcher versus Serpentico needed on the pre-show? We already had 4 matches on the pre-show. Also, they've gotten to the point where it's just Tony Khan now at the scrum, taking questions. Then we led into the ladder match for the vacant TNT Championship. Holy crap, was this match fun. This was just what you would have expected from an AEW 6-man ladder match. Just a whole lot of fun, crazy spots, and people trying to kill each other. So in this match, it was Konosuke Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, Jack Perry, Dante Martin, Lio Rush, and El Phantasmo. So when El Phantasmo came out during his entrance, he usually does like the heart. I can't do one that well. Like the heart kind of, maybe that's a heart. I don't know. But he did like a broken heart. And they're like, yeah, all his friends keep leaving him. Mentioning girls, basically mentioning, but not mentioning Girls of Destiny have left New Japan for WWE. And Hiculeo's the next. Anyways, as far as this match does go, it's a scramble out of the gate between El Phantasmo, Briscoe, Martin, and Rush to get ladders. They all had these shitty aluminum crap ladders, and they're all four in the ring, and they just throw them. Okay. Kill. Excuse me. So all these ladders just into each other, and I'm like, what are they doing with these shitty aluminum ladders? And then we finally get to the outside where people are fighting. You see the regular black ladders, and I go, okay, what? Anywho, Lio Rush showed off his speed early on by wiping everybody out at one at a time, leaving him alone in the ring to climb, but ELP cut him off and hit a spinning reverse fireman's carry through a ladder. Takeshita then brought Martin in the middle of the ring and planted him with the brain buster on the edge of the ladder. Also forgot to mention, early on, everybody, well, first off, Jack Perry was super kicked and taken out, and then they all teamed up on Takeshita as well, because they're like, oh, I gotta take out the big guy. But Takeshita at one point brought Dante Martin in the middle of the ring and planted him with the brain buster on the edge of a ladder. Briscoe then came in and spun around full speed with a ladder on his head before chucking it at Rush. Briscoe then set Takeshita up on a table against the barricade, put a ladder on top of him, and then put a chair in the ring, ran off the ropes, jumped off the chair over the top rope, crashed through, boom. They're dead. Jack Perry's literally sitting there at ringside just going, what did I just see? What did I just... Everybody's down. Jack jumps in the ring. Perry sets up a ladder in the middle of the ring and starts climbing, but ELP actually broke it up because Jack set up like a ladder bridge between the ladder and the corner. And so ELP jumped on that and then jumped in and cut Perry off. ELP gave a twisting nipple, a little nipple twister to Perry before shoving him off to the mat. But then Dante Martin flew in and knocked ELP off. Perry then knocked them both to the mat. Martin then grabbed his ankle, the one that he had hurt last time he was in a ladder match, selling it like he was hurt again. We know he's not. Perry set up a table at ringside, tried to powerbomb Rush through it, but Martin flew in with a drop kick through the ropes. Briscoe and Takeshita then fought on the apron as Briscoe set up a ladder on the apron, and I'm like, wait, a ladder can fit on the apron? Holy shit. So Rush then dove through the ropes, through the ladder, wiped out Takeshita and at ringside. Briscoe then climbed the ladder on the apron and noticed that, hey, Jack Perry is laying there on a table. So he jumps off to try and splash Jack and basically misses and smacks his face on the side of the table. Jack falls off the table falls over, doesn't break. Martin and Rush were left in the ring to try and climb up, but both men faced off at the top of the ladder. Remember, there's history there with those two working together in the past and whatnot. And so eventually Takeshita would knock them both off the ladder, powerbombing them both. Rush did take the worst of it through a ladder. Takeshita went to climb, but ELP flew in with a springboard onto the ladder. Takeshita then pulled him off into a knee lift. ELP fired back with a thrust kick, but instead of climbing, wanted a CR2. But Takeshita countered a CR2. Oh my God, this spot. Countered a CR2 into a Blue Thunder Bomb off the apron, through two tables at ringside that literally just went poof, and the tables exploded. Takeshita jumped up and went to climb a ladder, but Briscoe cut him off with a J driller onto a ladder in the corner that wouldn't stay in the corner at one point. So finally, he just propped it in the corner, kinda, and then did it. There was then Jack Perry jumping in the ring. He hit Briscoe with a ladder and a bunch of chair shots. He eventually climbed the ladder, grabbed the TNT title, and picked up the victory. So there we go. Jack Perry is the new TNT champion. So now to get to Esports Gaming Rules' other question, because the next match is Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vacure. Now, how do we say her name? I heard her name said 4 different ways tonight. Vacure, Vacker, Vaker, and Vacure. Is it Vacure, Vacure, Vaker, or Vacker? Which way is it? Excalibur said all three of the 4 different ways, if not all 4. So Esports Gaming Rules says, quote, thank you for the bit donation. I was surprised that Britt Baker DMD is back. When I saw a post on Reddit, does that mean we are getting Moné versus Baker for the face of the AEW Women's Division? And we got 2 Tokyo Dome NJPW shows in 2025. But I hope WWE get a Tokyo Dome PLE soon after the 2024 WWE Japan tour. And also why AEW marks think Ricochet is going to show up if Ospreay should have one. So, a bunch of stuff to talk about here. As far as Britt Baker coming back. So, yesterday, Tony Khan was interviewed by Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer and did state, oh, yeah, I didn't say this, but Britt was cleared a week ago. Which then led to a lot of people thinking Britt was going to, return tonight. As far as them fighting for the face of the AEW Women's Division, no, because the face is the Women's World Champion, not the TBS Champion. So they're not fighting for the face. And if they try to tell you that, they're even wrong. Because the main female should always be the main female champion. Now, if it's a Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns situation, that's different. Roman was the world champion, the undisputed champion, the undisputed WWE champion, but he was never around. So Cody took up the spot of face of the company. As far as this does go, it's not the same. And then, we can talk about it now as far as the Tokyo Dome shows. So we do know that Wrestle Kingdom is a one-night event in 2025, January 4th. It's gone back to the traditional just January 4th. But that is because it technically is a 2-night event, because the second night is going to be a big Forbidden Door style show. AEW and New Japan did announce tonight that on January 5th, from the Tokyo Dome, we'll be getting a show entitled Wrestle Dynasty. I think that's what it's called, Wrestle Dynasty. The show will feature wrestlers from, and let me double check on this, make sure I got that name right. Yes, Wrestle Dynasty. And the show will feature wrestlers from New Japan, AEW, Ring of Honor, CMLL, and Stardom. Again, will also be taking place from the Tokyo Dome on January 5th. So technically, it's the second night of Wrestle Kingdom, I guess you would say. As far as WWE getting a Tokyo Dome show, I don't know about that one. I don't even know if they want to do a show in the Tokyo Dome. I would assume that'd be a cool WWE show to do. But remember, the last time WWE ran a televised show from Japan, it was that Beast from the East show. I don't even remember what year that was. It's got to be like 2014. WWE Beast in the East. 2015, July 4th, 2015. That was the last time that WWE did run a televised show from Japan, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, as far as WWE doing a, Tokyo Dome show, maybe, I don't know. It's not been teased or talked about or anything, so we'll just have to wait and see. And then the Ricochet question, I don't think it was, Mark's thinking Ricochet's going to come. Well, I didn't see any of this, so I don't know where you're getting this. Mark's talking about Ricochet. Ricochet technically is still under contract with WWE, even though he was moved to the alumni section today. I believe his contract might be up tomorrow, not today, so he couldn't have even shown up today anyways. But, we've had those great Ricochet, Will Ospreay matches in the past. So that's why people want Ricochet to go to AEW and work with Will Ospreay. That's all it is. We want to replicate those PWG matches and those other indie matches and whatnot. As far as Mercedes versus Stephanie Vacure does go, I'm going to say it right now. Stephanie Vacure outworked Mercedes. She looked like the better wrestler in this match. And I'm going to say it right now. I think Stephanie Vacure was better in the ring than Mercedes Moné tonight. So Vicure fired off a headbutt right before the bell, and the match officially began, and Mercedes answered back with a springboard monkey flip. Both ladies then tried some pin attempts early on before colliding in the center of the ring. Mercedes did a double springboard arm drag, but took too long to follow up, and Vicure answered with one of her own. Moné then tried one into a crossface, but Vicure bailed, and Moné met her with a baseball slide head scissors. There's a Meteora back inside the ring from Moné, but Vicure once again went to the outside, this time blocking a DDT, driving Moné back first into the edge of the ring. There's soul food and a diving knee from Vicure that sent Moné outside, where Vicure hit a top rope crossbody. Vicure then stayed in control back inside the ring until Moné tried the Three Amigos, only for Vicure to respond by grounding Moné, driving her headfirst repeatedly into the mat, which propped the crowd. This was not a Mercedes crowd. It's because she's from Boston and they were in Long Island. So there was a lot of like anti-Boston chants, fuck the Celtics and all that kind of stuff. Moné then battled back in the corner, but ultimately dropping Vicure in midair with a dropkick when she came off the top rope. There are double knees in the corner. Oh, and the scrum is over. That was weird. It kind of just like ended. Okay. Anyways, we'll go back and check that out later. If there's any news from it, I will report such. Close this out really fast. So, where was I? Stephanie came off the top rope, but Mercedes caught her with a dropkick in the gut. Her double knees in the corner by Moné, who hit a multiple revolution DDT for a near fall. Vicure then countered a Moné maker into a roll-up for a 2, as Taz pointed out how there were chants for Stephanie tonight. Vicure missed a leg drop, and Moné did a rolling backslide, but Vicure tried a package pile driver when I spun out, and both ladies collided with a double clothesline. Also, that freaking Moné maker, that move that Mercedes does, where she gets you on your back like a gory special, and then she flips you, it looks so stupid. That move takes so long for her to set up, and it looks so dumb in the end. At least she's kind of stopped trying to do it into the knee, like when she first started doing it. Anywho, both ladies tried to do a kip up. Stephanie did a good one. Mercedes didn't, but I think that was the story. Like, Mercedes is getting, beat down pretty well. They slugged it out in the middle of the ring before a head scissors into a crossface by Vicure. Moné escaped and locked in a crossface of her own. And here's the thing. Stephanie did a good crossface. She right on the face, pulled back. All the Mercedes crossfaces, she was grabbing her under the chin. So it's like... Moné delivered multiple backstabbers at one point, as Taz says that, they're booing her because she's from Boston here in Long Island. Moné then missed a frog splash at one point off the top. She took too long. She tried to do the Eddie Guerrero shimmy, but her shimmy didn't even look good. Vicure got her feet up and then hit a nasty looking dragon screw in the corner, and then a corner knees as well. Moné again applied a crossface, but Vicure escaped, only for Moné to finally hit the Moné maker crossface, and immediately Vicure tapped out. They give both titles to Mercedes, and she's in the ring doing her thing, and all of a sudden the music of Britt Baker would hit. Huge ovation from the crowd. Massive pop when Britt Baker walked out on the stage. She stared down at Mercedes, and that's all we got. We know at some point the doctor is going to challenge the CEO. And then in the scrum, so I did see the very beginning of the scrum when Mercedes was out there. And she's like, yeah, I don't know what that was, but some bitch came out to ruin my celebration. So, yeah. That's the thing. Baker then just walked to the back and was like, yep, I'm back. So then we got the promo for the New Japan January 5th Tokyo Dome show, Wrestle Dynasty. Again, that show will feature New Japan wrestlers, AEW wrestlers, CMLL wrestlers, Ring of Honor wrestlers, and Stardom wrestlers. It didn't state if it's like a Forbidden Door concept where it's supposed to be, you're fighting people from different companies or whatnot. So we don't know exactly what the show's going to be, other than they just stated like the door has been wide open and they're coming to Tokyo. So We then have 2 matches left, 2 title matches. First one for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship is Jon Moxley defending against Tetsuya Naito. And yeah, good match. I thought these two worked really well together coming off the match that they had in Chicago. I knew this match should be pretty good, and I think it was pretty even to the last match they had when Moxley won the championship. They also brought Jim Ross out on commentary for the final 2 matches of the night. Not sure what happened to JR, but I think it was his left arm was in a cast. Also, Fightful did put out a report as well stating that Dijak was backstage tonight. Old Donovan Dijak. So Moxley came out to his New Japan Music Death Rider. The two stared it out in the middle of the ring. And then Moxley immediately gets spit in the face by Naito. So he goes to the outside and grabs some chairs. Naito sat down on one of the chairs in the middle of the ring before Red Shoes quickly took the chairs and threw him out of the ring. Moxley then ate a corner boot, but held on and hit a knee breaker before mocking the Naito taunt. Moxley then repeatedly went at the leg at ringside before back in the ring. Naito again spat in the face of Moxley, which only pissed Moxley off even more. There's a stalling pile driver by Moxley for a 2, as he kept daring Naito to slap him, which Naito obliged, but again, just pissed Moxley off even more as he raked the back of Naito. Both then traded headbutts while climbing into the corner, as Naito slid out and sent Moxley crashing outside. Naito then speared him into the ring attendant barricade area, and then we go back inside. Naito hit a stalling neck breaker to stay in control. Oh, harsh feint. Whew. Oh, that was a sharp one. Oh, it's starting to hurt my tooth too. So Naito wanted his signature corner Hurricane Rana, but Moxley countered into a powerbomb for a near fall. Naito then fought back with stiff elbows and kind of like a diamond dust variation as Moxley tried to apply a rear naked choke, but Naito countered into a Destino. Naito tried another, but this time Moxley turned it into a paradigm shift and got a double down spot. There's a slugfest that ensued before Naito hit an enziguri to the face of Moxley, but Moxley just kind of like turned him inside out with a big lariat and then a Death Rider for the closest near fall of the match. Moxley then kind of stalked Red Shoes, mad that Red Shoes didn't count 3. Taz even said, I think that's a 3. I think the ref may not have counted fast enough. Moxley then grabbed another chair, but Red Shoes took it away from him before Moxley could hit another Death Rider. Threw it as he basically tried to hit the Death Rider. Boo, ref kicks the chair. Naito then seemingly countered a Death Rider into a Destino, followed up with the Brainbuster, a proper Destino, and pinned Moxley 1-2-3 to win the championship, regain his title. There we go. Tetsuya Naito is once again the IWGP World Champion. Speaking of world titles, the AEW World Championship was on the line when Swerve Strickland defended against Will Ospreay. I'm going to get the poll going really fast here for people watching on Twitch. What did you think of Forbidden Door? I liked it. It was all right. I didn't like it. So if you are watching on Twitch, the poll is now live. Excuse me. As far as matches go, great main event. I thought this match was really, 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 really good. I was going to give it a star rating, 4.5. And if you say why 4.5 and not a 5-star match, because I've already seen people saying this is a 5-star match. The stuff with the Screwdriver and Don Callis and Prince Nana, I felt like pulled me out for a moment, and I didn't care for that. So that, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. You may have liked that, or that didn't hurt the match for you. In my opinion, I didn't like that with Ospreay teasing, maybe using it on Prince Nana, and then eventually saying, no, I'm not going to hit Prince Nana with the Screwdriver. I don't know. It just, I didn't care for that spot, so that kind of pulled me out of it. Oof, what a short pain. Oof. So there's Hayabusa tribute during his entrance by Ospreay, which is really cool. They also said that he is dedicating this match to his grandmother, who recently passed away this past week. Then rapper Jim Jones, no clue who he is, came out to introduce Swerve. Got a big pop. I guess he's from New York or whatever. I don't know. Again, no clue who this Jim Jones guy is, but whatever. There was a slight feeling out process that led to a stalemate early on. Strickland then went for his corner diving uppercut, but Ospreay kicked right up and stared him down. Oof. Oh, this is starting to hurt. Oh yeah, this is really starting to hurt. Oh God. Power through. Strickland was sent to the outside with a big boot, and Ospreay was right there, exploding with a slingshot crossbody onto him. Ospreay then hit a drive-by boot on the apron before going back inside the ring, up the ropes, but Strickland swept the feet out from under him and hit a diving uppercut. Strickland then wore down Ospreay, bringing him ringside and dropping him onto the guardrail, but then both men stood up and Ospreay hit a big Hurricane Rana off the barricade. Back inside the ring, there's a pip cheerio. And just like that, Ospreay was back in control. Ospreay then hit a stun gun, but Strickland blocked a big boot into a backbreaker. Beautiful hip toss into a short arm scissor from Strickland, but Ospreay made it to the ropes. There was some cocky kicks from Strickland to only wake up Ospreay. Kind of no-sold them, and both men started trading forearms. Both then went for home run shots, missing hidden blades and house calls. But it was Ospreay who connected with the Styles Clash for a 2. Ospreay went for an Os cutter. Strickland sprung from the ropes and hit a swerve stomp in midair. Camera cuts to Dan Garcia watching in one of the boxes. Both then fought up the ropes, and Strickland hit an avalanche angle slam for a close 2. Ospreay then rolled to the apron. Ospreay then floated over a brainbuster, hit the hook kick, tried an Os cutter, but Strickland bailed, and Ospreay crashed and burned. Ospreay was then left set up perfectly for a swerve stomp, but Ospreay rolled to the floor. Strickland then didn't care as he leapt for the top rope to the outside and slammed Ospreay against the commentary table, which didn't break. Strickland then pondered ending it here, but opted to go back to ringside and hit a pile driver on top of the guardrail. Back inside the ring, Strickland hit a sit-out reverse DDT, but Ospreay kicked out. Strickland then took too long to go for the swerve stomp, and Ospreay crotched him, and then hit an avalanche springboard Os cutter. Followed this up with the proper Os cutter and only got a 2. Ospreay then signaled for the hidden blade, but Strickland got to the forearm. Multiple hook kicks from Ospreay, who missed another Os cutter, this time with Strickland wanting to snap the arm, but Ospreay pulled him in for a pin attempt and got a 2. There's another proper Os cutter that connected as Ospreay hit a Stormbreaker, but Strickland managed to get his shoulder up, and the crowd went wild for this close near fall. Then they show MJF watching backstage. Ospreay then signaled like he was going to go for a Tiger Driver, but hit a Stormbreaker. Strickland then got out of all of this, only for Ospreay to hit a straight headbutt. Ospreay then signaled for a Tiger Driver, but Strickland spun out into a violent hidden blade of his own. Swerve stomp here missed, but Ospreay charged. Strickland ducked and hit referee Paul Turner with a hidden blade, knocking out the ref. Both men then traded poison ranas, with Ospreay trying a pin, but no official. Don Callis would then appear and gave Ospreay the screwdriver, telling him, "Get this and you'll win," basically. Callis begged him to take it and use it, but Prince Nana shoved Don, and then Ospreay got mad at Prince Nana for putting his hands on Don, teased using the weapon on Nana, and then opted not to. Ospreay then slid back into the ring and ate a brutal little house call before Strickland hit a swerve stomp right as referee Aubrey Edwards slid in, but only got a 2 off of it. Strickland then snapped the arm, hit another house call, and well, Ospreay kicked out again. Ospreay stumbled to his feet, tried to go for the hidden blade, but there was no oomph behind that hidden blade. Swerve kind of just caught him, patted him on the head, and then sent Ospreay crumbling down. There was one last house call that connected before a big pressure folded Ospreay up, and Strickland finally got the pin to retain the championship. Now, I have seen people already saying that this could be a match of the year candidate. Great match. Such a good match. And for what we've seen so far in 2024, I could see it right now maybe being like a top 5 match of the year. I don't know if it would win match of the year, but I can see people nominating it for sure. Post match, and they got Ospreay up, kind of sitting there. He's all dejected. Swerve went over to him, kind of like hugged him a little, gave him a kiss on the top of the head. Kyle Fletcher was out there as well, and then Swerve celebrates to end the show. Overall, I thought this was a really, really good show. But again, it's a trope of AEW, and especially with this Forbidden Door platform, of a lot of this we don't care about. So that is the one downside. But overall, again, like I stated, I like this show. I thought it was a really good show. If you just wanted to watch a lot of good wrestling, boom, this is the show to watch. It was very well paced. They went through things very quickly. Longest match of the night was the main event that went 27 minutes. And the other long match was 20 minutes, Bryan Danielson and Shingo Takagi. Everything else was 16 minutes or less. Well, the ladder match went 17. But with that, guys, that is everything that took place tonight at AEW Cross NJPW Forbidden Door. You know what I thought of the show. Now it's time to check the polls and see what you guys thought. So let's go refresh all of these right now. Got that one. We got that one. And we've got, as far as the Threads poll does go, everybody that voted liked the show. As far as the Twitter X poll does go, 72% liked the show. 72% liked the show. 18% thought it was, hold on, let me refresh this. There we go. 72% liked the show. 18% didn't like the show, and 9% thought it was just all right. Looking at the YouTube community poll, 60% liked the show, 24% thought it was just all right, and 16% didn't like it. Some of the comments here, mostly boring to mid. I wouldn't go that far. Says, our show was awesome. Gonna get downvoted by fanboys just because it's not the company they like. True. This person says solid, 9 out of 10 show. This person says I liked it, and this person says great. As far as the live poll does go, 77% liked it, 18% thought it was just all right, and 5% didn't like it. And with Twitch, everybody that voted, they said it was just all right. So with that, guys, I'm hurting. That's wrapping everything up. I want to say thank you for joining us here at twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. We'll be back live tomorrow night following Monday Night Raw. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your Sunday. Have a great week as we kick off a new week tomorrow, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.